Okay, so everybody's on mute now. All right, so rule 8, pushing along. We got 2 more rules to go through. So we're tracking along on that front. This is about scoring plays and touchbacks. So let's go ahead and get this rolling. Let me click on this one more time. Okay. So in rule 1, it is the object of the game for one team to carry or pass the ball across the opponent's goal line, or to kick the ball through the opponent's goal by a place kick or drop kick. The game is won by the team with which accumulates the most points. Points are scored by touchdown, successful try, field goal, or safety. So there's 4 ways to score points. That's pretty simple. I'm sure we all know that much. But yeah, just the ideal that you got 2 opponents trying to get the most points. Obviously going to be a lot of conflict in the game, which we all know about, that we experience every time we come on a football field. Right? So section 1 of rule 8 is just a chart. It gives the points. The touchdown is worth 6 points. A field goal is worth 3 points. A safety, points awarded to the opponent, 2 points. A successful try, a touchdown, is worth 2 points. A field goal or safety is worth 1 point. And I put safety in red because a lot of people, a lot of officials don't know how the offense can get a safety on a try. So we're going to discuss that and show you how can on a try, how can the offense get 1 point for safety that would normally be a 2 point in any other condition. And then a forfeit game is one. If a game is forfeit before the game even starts, offended team get 1 point, the opponent gets 0. But if the offended team is ahead, then the score stands. So if they're not ahead, let's say there's a forfeit based on the team that's winning, we go back to 1-0. But if the other team, if the offended team is winning during the forfeit, their score stands. Make sense? Good. All right, section 2, touchdown. All right, possession of a live ball in the opponent's end zone is always a touchdown. All right. In discussion. So anytime A possesses the ball in B's end zone is a touchdown, unless the ball is dead and it doesn't matter. But anytime a live ball, keyword live ball, is possessed by the opponent in the opponent's end zone is always a touchdown. The first way is a runner advances from the field of play so that the ball penetrates the vertical plane of the opponent's, and I think I spelled that wrong, of the opponent's goal line. A couple of things. The ball does not have to cross the entire line to be a touchdown, right? Typically, when somebody's running in, they'll cross the whole line, they get into the end zone, and we signal touchdown. The ball, all the ball has to do is penetrate the goal line. Remember, the whole goal line is in the end zone, right? The end zone don't start on the back side of the goal line, but goes to the end zone. The whole goal line is in the end zone. So if the ball just, that the foremost point of that ball, as soon as it breaks that goal line, penetrates that goal line, it's a touchdown. So if I penetrate the goal line, it's a touchdown. And if a defender comes and knocks the ball out of my hand, it may, they may think it's a fumble, but it's not a fumble because the ball is dead once it penetrates the goal line. Right? If I'm running and I hit the goal line and then they start pushing me back, my forward progress penetrated the goal line. It doesn't have to go 4 inches past the line. Just the tip has to go barely over the line and it's a touchdown, right? So just remember that. That's why in goal line mechanics, we want the line judge and the head linesman to move down to the goal line on goal line play so you can be right there to say touchdown or no touchdown. The ball did not penetrate the goal line. That's why it's so important to be right there, not like a foot away from the goal line and try to determine, like, looking to the side. We want you to be on that goal line. As soon as that ball penetrates that goal line, touchdown. All right. A loose ball is caught or recovered by a player while the ball is on or behind the opponent's goal line. Again, a loose ball, a fumble, or a pass play is a loose ball. If it's caught or a loose ball, a recovery, meaning a ball on the ground, fumble on the ground, teammate recover it in the opponent's goal line, or whoever, be whatever. The opponent secure possession of that ball is a touchdown. All right, and the last one, a player who threw a backwards pass or fumble in the end zone of the opponent and the ball is declared dead while no player is in possession. Now, I was talking to Tony about this week, and basically what they're saying is I run the ball, I'm running the ball. The ball pops out before it gets into the end zone. And let's say it rolls into the end zone and it remains there. And let's say some crazy hypothetical, no one tried to secure the ball. If the referee declared the ball dead, then it's a touchdown for the team who had last possession of the ball. Right? Again, as I was talking to Tony like, I ain't saying nothing. I'm gonna stand right there and wait, because that could obviously cause some controversy. There was another example that made a little bit more sense. You know how somebody runs to the end zone? They think they're in the end zone. They set the ball down, but they didn't actually cross the end zone yet. They set it down like at the half-yard mark before the goal line. They run, they set it down, and let's say they set it down, and as they were running in, they accidentally kick the ball into the end zone. Okay. So the ball is live because he didn't take it in the end zone. He accidentally kicked the ball into the end zone. So that ball is still live. But by rule, in Rule 4, it says that any ball that's motionless that no player is trying to possess becomes dead. And then, if you call it dead, then it's going to be a touchdown for the opponent team who had last possession of the ball. Again, Tony, like, I'm going to just sit there and not blow a whistle. And if a coach asks me, I'm like, Coach, the ball's not dead, and let somebody jump on it. But, I mean, that's what this means right here, okay? A loose ball in the end zone, no one's trying to possess it. It becomes dead in the end zone. It's a touchdown. All right? Other than because of an inadvertent whistle. So obviously we know if a loose ball goes into the end zone and an official gets a little anxious and do the most horrible thing that we can do is blow an inadvertent whistle, we know by rule the ball will go back to where it was loose from, and the team who had last possession get to choose to take the ball where they lost possession or replay it down. So obviously, if it is an inadvertent whistle in the end zone, that doesn't count as being a touchdown. That just means an official got ahead of himself and had whistle in his mouth or her mouth. All right. There's no free fouls when it get down to scoring. All right. So what do you mean by that? If an opponent of the scoring team commits a foul other than unsportsmanlike conduct or a non-player foul, there's no change of team possession, or there was a change of possession, there was a foul after the change of possession. So in other words, let's say there's an interception and with clean hands. That means that B did not commit any fouls before they intercept or recovered the ball or intercepted the ball, caught or recovered a loose ball. There was no foul on B. So once they got possession of the ball, let's say there was a foul by the A, let's say A because they threw the interception or lost the ball. If they commit a foul after the fight, all right, The scoring team may accept the result of the play and choose the enforcement of the penalty on a try or the subsequent kickoff. All right. So don't make a difference if it's a hold. Don't make a difference if it's a personal foul. If there's a foul by the opponent of the scoring team, the offense don't have to decline the penalty in order to take the touchdown. Right? They can still accept the touchdown and also get that foul enforced either on the try or on the subsequent kickoff. Right? So just remember that there's no free fouls unless let's say that A had an illegal motion before snap. They threw an interception. B scored a touchdown. If B accepts the foul, the ball returns back to A because the foul is enforced from the previous spot, and then A get another shot at the ball. That time B will have to decline the foul in order to retain the touchdown. So in that instance, yes, he has to decline the foul to obtain the touchdown. However, if there's a foul that's by the opponent of the team that scored, the scoring team can take the result of the play if it's a touchdown and say, I want to tell the referee I want to enforce on the try or the subsequent kickoff. And typically, unless it's the last play of the fourth period, which they would have to take it on the try, typically they'll just say take it on the kick. Now we get to mark them by mark either. All right. If either team commits an unsportsmanlike conduct or a non-player foul during a down in which a touchdown is scored. Now, this has been a recurring situation because we watch NCAA and we watch the NFL. And I know in the NCAA they're very heavy on sportsmanlike conduct. And I believe, I might be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the NCAA, if there's a live ball unsportsmanlike conduct foul before the touchdown, you can take the touchdown back and mark it from the spot of conduct. But that's not the case in National Federation High School rules. So, if a player running in, he gives the two fingers or he taunt the defender as he goes into the end zone, that's an unsportsmanlike conduct. Well, that does not take back the touchdown. If a coach come on the field, and on the field when it's before a touchdown is scored, that does not negate the touchdown. So by rule, the opponent may accept the penalty and choose the enforcement of the penalty on a try or on the subsequent kickoff. All right, those are the choices. They don't say that it is an all but one principle foul or it's a spot foul. So, granted, unsportsmanlike conduct foul does not negate a touchdown. Okay. So, again, if either team commits an unsportsmanlike conduct or non-player foul, the offended team get to say, I want it on the try or I want it to see a kickoff. All right. So, if A committed unsportsmanlike conduct, B may say, I want it marked off on a try to mark them back 18 yards so that it'll make it difficult for them to score the extra point. If it's A, they may say, I want it on a kickoff because we're on the 3-yard line anyways, and we're going to see if we can get it in there. So, that is the only scenarios that you can have. All right, and right here, a little slide. Penalty enforcement on a scoring rule. During down or draw a touchdown, if either team commits unsportsmanlike conduct, either team or non-player foul, the offended team has the choice of enforcement on the try. All right. Either team commits any foul after the touchdown and prior to the initial ready for play signal for the try, which the basic spot is the succeeding spot. So we're just talking about a dead ball foul, right? So in between the touchdown and before the referee say, "We're ready for play for the try," if there's any dead ball foul in the middle of that, right, the offended team may accept the penalty and choose the enforcement of the penalty on the try or the subsequent kickoff. All right. So again, which that's a momentary. Now, after the ready for play whistle and there's a foul, it has to be enforced on the try. Okay. But before the ready for play, so like let's say they excessively celebrating, you throw a delay of game foul. All right. The defense can say, "I want it on the try" or "I want it on the kickoff." If B get upset because they scored a touchdown and pushes an A player, or use some vulgar language toward A, is it unsportsmanlike conduct? A can choose to have it on the try or the subsequent. Okay? But once the referee blows the ready for play on the try, the only choice they have is to enforce it on the try. All right. So section 3. Now that made a lot of sense. We're going to move on to section 3 now, the try. All right. The scoring team shall attempt a try. This involves a scrimmage down, which is neither number nor time. So untimed down, we call it. The snap shall be anywhere on B's 3-yard mark between the hash marks. So the A captain can say, "I want it on the left hash mark, the right hash mark. I want to put it in the middle. I want it in between the middle and the left hash mark, or in the middle between the right, the mark, the 3-yard mark, and the hash mark. Anywhere they want to put it, the kicker might be good at kicking from the right hash mark or left hash mark, who knows? But the captain can designate the spot. We looked at that throughout the rule on our rules review. You can choose the spot on a try. And the try begins when the ball is ready for play. So just like we're talking about the foul, there's a foul before the ready for play, it can still be enforced on the try or the ready for or the subsequent kickoff. But once the ready for play is blown, that's when the try. All right. Only A may score during a try. B cannot score during a try. Right? There's no picking it up and running it back. B can't get a safety, but A can. Only A may score during a try. 2 points for a touchdown, 1 point for a field goal, 1 point for a safety by B. Again, we're going to talk about how A can get a safety on a 2-point conversion try. All right, a try ends when B secures possession of the ball. Once B gets possession of the ball, the try is over. If it's apparent a drop kick or a place kick will not score. So this is not like a field goal. A field goal, if the ball doesn't break the goal line, B or /K can recover the ball and run it back, advance it back like a punt kick, right? But on a try, there's no recovering a kick. So if a kick is blocked, we blow the whistle automatic immediately. We kill the play because it's apparent that the drop. Obviously, the kick is not going to go in go through the goal, so the play is over immediately. All right. And a try is successful. So obviously, when a try is successful, the try is in. And the ball becomes dead for any other reason. Inverted whistle goes out of bounds, blah, 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 blah. All right. All right. If during a successful try, a foul by B occurs, A is given a choice. So again, there's no free fouls. So if B is holding on a try, but A still scores, there's still a foul that needs to be administered. If there's pass interference, but A still scores, there's still a foul that needs to be administered. It's not A don't go, well, I decline the foul and take the result of the play. They can have both. They can have their cake and eat it too. So, accepting the penalty and replaying it down following enforcement. So let's say they went for a field goal, but it was a foul and they want to go for a 2-point conversion now. You can mark off the foul and then they can decide to go for a 2-point touchdown versus a 1-point field goal. Or accept the result of the play and enforcement of the penalty from the succeeding spot, right? So again, we're gonna take the points and then we're gonna mark off the foul and the kickoff. So we're gonna push it back. The strategy is, especially if you have a team that has a good, returner, free kick returner, they're good at getting yardage or scoring touchdowns. The kicking team may want to move up closer. They can kick it in the goal line. So once it breaks the goal line, become a touchback and it goes to the 20. That might be a strategy for some teams. They might say, yeah, I want to take the foul on the kickoff so I can kick it into the goal line, kick it into the end zone so that we can prevent them from getting a run back because they got a good punt returner or free kick returner. If during a successful try, a loss or down foul by A occurs, there is no score and no replay. So we talked about the 4 things that A can do to have a loss or down, right? Most of them do illegal forward pass, intentional grounding, all that other stuff like that. If there's a loss of down foul, that foul that A commit comes with a loss of down. B accept that. If they did score, we take that score back and they don't get to try again. It's over. We go to the kickoff. Right? If during an unsuccessful try, a foul by A or K occurs, the penalty is obviously going to be declined. The result of the play stands, and there's no replay. So obviously, B not going to be like, "Ooh, I want to take the foul. I want to accept the foul and let A try again." He goes, "No, decline the foul. Let's move on." If B or R fouls, then the penalty is going to be accepted, and we're going to replay after enforcement. All right, we see that all the time. I'm sure none of y'all have any problems with understanding. All right, if a double foul occurs, that means a foul on either team, the down shall be replayed. All right, there's no foul on B, the holding on B, pass interference, or illegal shift, or illegal motion, or illegal formation, which should not be seen anymore. On A, the offset, and we played it down. Remember, unsportsmanlike conduct is not included in this. All right, unsportsmanlike conduct on either team. Well, offset, if you have 2 unsportsmanlike conducts on one team and one on the other, one set offset and the other one you will enforce, but that will be enforced on the kickoff because unsportsmanlike conduct is from the succeeding spot. And if they accept it, we do not replay it down for unsportsmanlike conduct or non-player fouls. A double foul, we're talking about live ball fouls and not talking about unsportsmanlike conduct or non-player fouls. All right, when a try is replayed, the snap may be from any spot between the hash marks. So in other words, if you want on the left hash mark, but we have to replay the try, they can say I want on the right hash mark now. They can change their mind and change position of the ball if we have to replay the try. All right, and after a try, now I got this in blue because remember I told you about the acid questions I used to ask? One of the acid questions I used to ask, acid test questions is, after a try, the opponent of the scoring team shall designate, spell that wrong, which team will kick off. In other words, we watch a lot of football. So in other words, if A scores on B, we think that A is automatically required to kick off the B. but that's not true. B can literally say, we want to kick off back to A. You say, well, that never happens. Well, I heard, I mean, there's some place that may happen, but it's just the mere fact of this asset to a test question is to see, a lot of people say, well, I know the rules. And I'd be like, yeah, do you know the rules? And I said, yeah, I know the rules. I said, okay, well, if who choose who kicks off after a try? And they look at me like, what do you mean choose to kick off? The team that scored kicks off. Well, no, by rule, the ones that got scored on get to choose who kick off. All right. It's just, I know it may never happen in our lifetime or whatever, but the idea behind the question is just to show that there are things in the rules that you don't know that you assume is automatic, and it's not. All right. So section 4, field goal. A field goal is scored as follows. From scrimmage, a place kick or drop kick field goal attempt. So it's like, again, a field goal is a scrimmage kick. All right. So the difference between a punt that goes through the goal, or a place kick or drop kick is by definition we went over, right? A place kick is on a tee, a drop kick hits the ground first, and the kicker kicks it as it hits the ground, or as it bounces up from the ground and then they kick it. Okay. That's a place kick or drop kick. Those are the only two kicks that can score. Now we know drop kick is more obsolete. We don't only see too many talented kickers that can do a drop kick. But the place kick is still used. Put on the tee, he kicks it, the block, and he kicks it and he scores. So, however, a field goal is also treated like a punt if it's unsuccessful and if it doesn't cross the goal line. So if he kicks it and it goes short and it hits the ground, now it's treated like a punt. And if it hits the ground and go out of bounds, B, who's now K, will get the ball where it goes out of bounds. If he kicks it and B or /K picks it up, they can run it back. So that's the difference. Now, if it crosses the goal line, obviously it becomes a touchback. But we're talking about things that don't cross the goal line. So we treat it as though although it's a field goal scoring for points, it's also treated as though it's a punt in the ideal world. All right. The ball shall not touch any player of K or his teammate or the ground before passing through the goal. Doesn't mean referee or R. So if it hits R and it goes to the goal, it counts. If it's a referee and goes to the goal, it counts. And let's look at a YouTube. Hope y'all see it. Watch the umpire. Whoop. And it goes through. It's good. Again, here we go. Boop. Into the goal. It's good. All right. One more time. Boop. It goes over. All right. The umpire helped them score a field goal. All right. So, sorry about that. So the thing you gotta watch out for is an umpire should have been in, that's why umpires go into the crouch position to prevent stuff like that. He was standing straight up and he got the whole kick. All right, so for a field goal to be good, there's an old illustrated I found from my old notes. They have to cross over, that goalpost goes into infinity, just like the goal line does. So if it crosses over and, you know, the majority of the ball, inside the ball is over that, inside of that post, I'm sorry, and the first is no good, no good. It has to be completely on the inside of that post, not the outside of it. So it's the inside of the post that matters. So it has to cross from that inside. 1 and 2 is no good, but 3 is because it's on the inside of the post. Not can't be on the outside or right above it. Has to be on the inside of the post. All right, and if during a successful field goal, a foul by R occurs, K is given a choice. Remember, there's no free fouls. All right, accepting the penalty and replaying the down following enforcement. Maybe I want to go for a touchdown now rather than a field goal. They may like the position they got for the foul. I mean, it might be a, you know, whatever, and then they say, okay, we're going to go for a like roughing the kicker, running into the kicker, roughing the snapper, or roughing the holder. They can say they're going to get 15 yards and automatic first down. They may choose to take the enforcement, keep the ball. Or if they may accept the results of the play and have it enforce them succeeding spot, which would be the free kick. All right. After a field goal, again, the opponent of the scoring team should designate which team will kick off. Even during a successful field goal, it's not automatic for the scoring team to kick off to the non-scoring team or to B. B literally can choose to kick off back to A. All right. Maybe a strong winds and they might want to kick off, or whatever the case may be. Maybe there's a lot of fouls that, you know, there's not going to be advantageous for them. So they may say they want to kick off. Understand that they have that choice. And if you ever do in a high school game and B said, hey, we want to kick off, don't look at them like they're crazy. So what do you mean you want to kick off? You don't choose. They do choose. All right. So we're on our last portion here, which is force, safety, and touch bite. And so remember I said I used to have 3 asset questions. The first asset question was, can a passer cross the line of scrimmage, retreat behind the line of scrimmage, and throw a forward pass? Is that legal? And we found out, yes, it's legal, because all he has to do, or she has to do, is have their feet in or behind the neutral zone before the pass is thrown. So it's legal for a passer to cross the line of scrimmage and cross back and throw a forward pass, as long as they don't violate the 5 illegal forward passes, right? The pass not thrown beyond the line of scrimmage, not intentional grounding, in regards to throwing a pass in an area with no eligible offensive receiver, or conserving yardage or time, or throwing second or subsequent forward passes. You're gonna get throw 1. So as long as those 5 and change of possession, as long as those 5 are not violated, the passer can cross the line of scrimmage, retreat back, and then throw another forward pass. The second asset question was, which team chooses who kicks off after a try, and obviously also a field goal. It's the opponent of the scoring team, which means the team that got scored on. Right. That was another asset question. The next asset question is, how can A score a 1-point safety on a try? All right. So a safety is a safety when a runner carries the ball from the field of play to or across his own goal line, and it becomes dead there in his team's possession. All right. So obviously, you know, if I get the ball and I'm in my end zone, and when I'm tackled, the safety, but it is what they call the momentum exception. Now, I didn't write, there was a lot to write down. I did not write down. I'm going to explain it to you. If you want to read it, go into the rule book, Rule 8 yourself, and Rule 852A with an exception, and read it. But the momentum exception is when B intercepts the ball or recover a fumble within 5 yards to their goal line. Let's say I caught it on the 5 yard line, but my momentum took me into my end zone. If I drop the ball and it goes out of bounds, if I fumble it, or if I get tackled in the end zone, it's not a safety. The ball will go back to the 5 yard line or the 3 yard line or 2 yard line or wherever within that 1 to 5. It will go back there. And A and B will become A, the ball at that spot. That's 5 yards and in. So if he recovers on the 6 yard line, Nicky Picky, and he goes into his end zone, if he gets tackled, that's a safety. But from the 5 yard line in, if he catches it and his momentum takes him in there, that's a continual motion. That's not he caught it, stopped on the 1, then stepped into his end zone and get tackled. That's a safety. But if he gets it in that one fluid motion, runs into his end zone, he can run it out. He has every right to run it out if he wants. If he runs it out and he gets tackled on the 1, it stays on the 1. The ball has to be declared dead in the end zone with their possession, because obviously the other team gets the ball. Guess what? It's a touchdown. But that's the momentum exception. All right. It is a safety when a player who is either in the field of play or in his end zone forces a loose ball from the field of play to or across his goal line by kick, pass, fumble, or snap. Or a new force, and that's the key to the answer to how can A on a try score a 1-point safety, or a new force to a grounded loose ball with his muff or bat or illegal kick, provided the ball becomes dead in or with no player possession, or the ball is out of bounds when it becomes dead on or behind their goal line. All right. So a new force is always considered part of a grounded loose ball, right? In other words, for a new force to take place, the ball has to be on the ground. For one, can't be in the air. That's not has to be on the ground. Then again, we'll talk about it. If let's say A was trying to come into, A was running, they fumbled the ball, and the ball was, let's say, on the 2 yard line, and we determined the ball is not about to go into the end zone. Let's say the ball is rolling out of bounds, or the ball was just rocking back and forth. It had no energy to get into the end zone. If B try to secure possession of that ball and then from them muff the ball into the end zone, and then if B secures possession of the ball in the end zone, the ball becomes dead there. It's not a touchback. It's actually a safety, because they provided the new force or the new energy to the ball to put it into their end zone. So now they're responsible for it being there, and now it's a safety, not a touchback. All right. It is a safety when a player on offense commits any foul for which the penalty is accepted and enforcement is from a spot in his end zone, or throws an illegal forward pass from his end zone, and penalty is declined in a situation which leaves him in possession at the spot of an illegal pass, and the ball having been forced into the end zone by the passing team. So again, if and this happens when you see them like on a 2 yard line, they're going out, and the ball is snapped, and an offensive player is flagged for holding in his end zone, and the ball is thrown. The pass is going. The ball might have came out of the end zone, but because the all but one principle, the foul has to be marked from behind, from where the foul occurred, is in the end zone. And so because it's on the end zone, it becomes a safety, because we can't mark up a foul from the end zone where we're going to put the ball. So the ball, or the succeeding spot, will be in the end zone. So because of the succeeding spot, we're going to be in the end zone. Because of the foul, it becomes a safety. All right. So if I throw it intentional, if I'm getting scrambled and I'm about to get tackled and I throw the ball away and throw intentional grounding, the foul is where I threw it at, which is in the end zone, which becomes a safety. All right. Okay, touchback. All right. So any free kick or scrimmage kick. So any free kick or scrimmage kick that breaks ours goal line is a touchback. Okay. If it breaks the goal line, it's a touchback. Any free kick or scrimmage kick becomes in K's possession, becomes dead in their end zone, and a new force is ours muff or bat or kick after this touch the ground. So this is talking about reverse. So let's say we kick the ball and it's blocked by R. And now if the block pushes the ball into the end zone, that's not a new force. Okay. But if he blocked it and it's not going to go into the end zone, and we judge it is going to go out of bounds or we're just rocking in place, that the energy that was given from the block was not enough to put the ball into K's end zone. If R muffs the ball or kick the ball or bats the ball into K's end zone, if K lands on the ball, guess what? It's a touchback because R provided a new force to the ball that put it in there. It's not a safety, it will be a touchback. A new force by a player opponent put the ball into his end zone and the ball is declared dead in his team's possession or out of bounds behind the goal line. Again, new force, all right? So don't make a difference either team. If A puts the ball into B's end zone and B secures it a touchback. If B puts the ball into A's end zone by new force and A secures the ball, it's a touchback. It's not a safety. A forward pass is intercepted in B's end zone and the ball is declared dead in B's possession. So if I intercept the ball in the end zone and I land, it's a touchback, the ball goes to the 20. All right. Force is attributed to the player who carries, snaps, pass, or kick, or fumble the ball. All right. So again, you could go through the rule book and read. We're going to talk more about this when we get into our in-depth study about force. We're going to look at what all Rule 2 says about it and look at some case plays. I'm trying not to cover too much on it, but a force is attributed to a player who carries, snaps, or pass, or kicks a fumble, right? Okay, new force is applied to a grounded backwards pass, kick, or fumble. Again, it has to be on the ground. It can't be in the air. Muffing or batting of a pass, kick, or fumble in flight is not considered a new force. So if you're kicking the ball and I block it, and my block pushes the ball into the end zone, that's not considered a new force. So in other words, if they land on it, it's a safety, okay? The only way it would be a touchback if they land on it, if I block it, and the block did not put the ball into the end zone, my second touch or my second drive, that a ball, now again, if a ball is rolling toward the goal line, the end zone, then the covering official have to judge if would that ball get into the end zone on the original force. So if it's rolling and I muff it in there, you might say, well, that's not a new force because it was going to go in there no matter who touched it. But if the covering official determines or judge that the only reason why that ball went into the end zone by my actions, then if my opponent lands on it, it's not a safety, it's a touchback. All right, and this here is a very old, I was looking for a new one today, couldn't find an updated one, but this is basically putting that into place. You see A fumbles at B's 2-yard line. B's try to recover and force the ball into the end zone and out of bounds, right? So the referee determined that it was B's actions or that provided a new energy, a new force to the ball that actually put the ball in the end zone and out of bounds. So because of that, it won't be a safety. It will be, it won't be a touchback. It will be a safety because B put the end zone through his own end line. All right. Again, if you don't understand it, I understand that. We will cover this more. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of hint, a little bit of nuggets to the whole new force rule, and understand that again, let's look at this as being a try. Okay, A is trying to score. It has to be a 2-point conversion, right? Because obviously the rule says that on a kick, if it's apparent that it's not going to be successful, the play is dead. So the only way a ball remains live is on A, go for a 2-point touchdown, 2-point conversion. Okay. So A going for a 2-point conversion. A fumbles the ball. Right? It could be a muff snap. It could be a muff handoff. It could be any of those things. It could be he's running, he gets hit, and the ball fumbles. Right? The covering official determined that ball, by that fumble, that original fumble, is not going into that end zone. It's going out of bounds. Well, B at that time comes and tries to secure possession of the ball. The rule says that a try ends if B secures possession. B don't secure possession, they muff it. They muff it into the end zone. So if it goes out of bounds through the end zone, it's a safety because B was a contributing factor to that, and A will get 1 point on a try. If B secures possession of the ball in the end zone, they put it there, it's their energy that put it there, A will get 1 point on a try. You're not gonna say, try is no good because B put it in there and B land on it, so obviously the play is dead. No, you're gonna go score 1 point for a safety. And then you got to go to a coach referee conference and explain that to the opponent, the other team, why you're going to give them 1 point for what you mean by new force. That's not football, right? So understand, if you ever have to do this, there's going to be a lot of explanations. Just explain, go talk to Andre, go talk to Tony. They'll explain it to your coach. We don't got time right now. Just understand the other team is getting 1 point because it was new force that put the ball in the end zone, right? And that is it.